Hey everyone, the next update is coming up in a little over a month. It should come around the middle of September like always, but there's already a leak list. Before I get started, I did want to mention that I've heard about a few leak lists going around like always. This is a reminder that there's only two reliable leakers, being Olivia and the Chinese leaker, so if you see any leaks that aren't from either of them, it's pretty much guaranteed to be a fake. Here's a leak list if you're wondering, and I'll go down the list in order, giving you some information about each of the vehicles. First on the list, we have the one, the only, A6E Swift. Now, obviously we've seen this for a while, and it's basically a calling card at this point, so I'm sure we'll see it eventually, but who knows when. But why not tell you what it can use anyways? It gets an upgraded RWR, and can use the AGM-88, AGM-65 Maverick, AGM-62 Walleye, and the AGM-84E Slam. I highly doubt that we will see the AGM-84E coming, as it is a cruise missile with a range of about 110 kilometers, but seeing as though this plane will probably come when we get anti-radiation missiles, who really knows? The KV-1 Model 1942 is up next, going to Russia as a tech tree vehicle and going to Sweden as a GE Premium. This KV-1 had increased armor and a cast or welded turret and has the 3-inch ZIS-5 gun. This KV-1 was extremely underpowered for its weight though, so expect its mobility to be very bad. The next up is the T1E1 90mm for the US. We already have a T1E1 in game with a 76mm gun, and the T1E1 is the prototype for the M6 heavy tank for those of you who did not know. The T1E1 was originally armed with the 76mm gun that we have in game, but was later rearmed with the 90mm gun that we will be getting this update. Despite starting before the war, ultimately this project just became a testbed for a bunch of other projects. There were different transmissions for the US and the British, but they decided against it in favor of more Shermans being sent over in World War II. Next we have the Su-24M Fencer D, which is long overdue. The Su-24 began development immediately after the Su-7. The Su-24 is currently in use by Russia, Ukraine, Syria, and Algeria. The Su-24M was an upgrade from the base Su-24 that introduced a refueling probe and an onboard laser designator system. It can use the CAB 500L and the CAB 1500L laser guided bombs, as well as the CAB 500KR and the CAB 1500KR TV guided bombs. It can also use the KH-25 and the KH-29L and T air-to-ground missiles. It also has the capability for a few anti-radiation missiles, but again, I'd be surprised if they were added this update. In terms of air-to-air missiles, it can carry up to 4 R-73s for self-defense. The Su-24 has variable sweep wings and a pretty low thrust-to-weight ratio of only 0.6. I think this would be a pretty good addition to the game and would be a decent alternative to the Su-25 in Ground RB. The Boxer IFV will also be coming to the game for Germany. It is fairly similar to the Vilcus in its design. The Boxer is a wheeled vehicle that has a 30mm autocannon and a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. However, it can also be fitted with a 105mm cannon or a 105mm howitzer. I would guess that the standard variant with the 30mm autocannon will be added, but we could see the others in the future. Obviously it will be a nice addition, and we'll just have to see what BR it sits at. One of my favorite vehicles on this list is the J10 Vigorous Dragon. It lists the J10 and the J10A, so I'm not really sure if two variants will be coming or not. The J10A will be an amazing addition to the game, and especially the Chinese tech tree. It has the water pistol GSH-23 as its gun, of course, and one of the nice things about the J10 is its ability to do multi-role pretty well, so this will go great with China's top-tier ground lineup. It can carry laser-guided bombs like the LS-500J and the LT-2, as well as carry guided glide bombs like the LS-6, GB-3, and the GB-2A. For its air-to-air missiles, it can carry the PL-12 and the PL-8, both of which are already in game. Though we could see the addition of the PLA-B, which from what I can find has the seeker found on the TY-90, or at least one very similar to it, meaning it would be extremely difficult to defeat. While being a very strong missile in terms of IRCCM, it would be a nice addition since the PL-8 is heavily outclassed at top tier currently. The J-10 would be a very strong plane, being able to carry up to 10 missiles from what I have found, though I'm not entirely sure on that number, as it could be more like 6, which is a big disparity. Either way, being able to carry more than 2 PL-12s like the J-8F will be very nice. Also, if you guys have enjoyed this video so far, please give it a like and subscribe as I'm trying to reach my next goal of 2,000 subscribers. Next we have the 9K33 OSA AKM for Russia. The OSA AKM is a 6x6 anti-air vehicle that can carry 6 missiles. Assuming it gets the best missiles it can get, which it most likely will, it means the max range will be about 12 kilometers. I guess this would go in between the 2S6 Tunguska and the Pantsir, probably around 11.0 or 11.3. I personally don't see the need for it, especially in the spot it's going to. Either way, Russia will be getting another high tier SPA for some reason. The list also says the OSA AK will be added to Italy, but I can't seem to find any reference of Italy actually using it in real life. The French will also be getting their Tech Tree coastal fleet this update, so there will be a good chunk of new ships for the whole 5 people that consistently play naval. Now, my favorite vehicle on this list, and something that I think should have been added a while ago, is the A-10C. The A-10C has a much better weapon system than the A-10A, including a helmet-mounted display. However, it does seem that this helmet-mounted display is only for targeting ground targets, and it can't slew the Seeker of any air-to-air missiles it can carry. It can carry either the Lightning or Sniper targeting pods, which will go well with its armament that includes the AGM-65 Maverick, JDAMs, or Paveway laser-guided bombs. In terms of the Maverick, it will likely get the AGM-65D, and possibly the AGM-65E, which is the laser-guided variant since it was capable due to the targeting pod. It can also carry the AIM-9 Sidewinder of course, and most likely the AIM-9M will be given to it. The A-10C should have been added a while ago when all the Su-25 variants were being added, but at least it's nice to see it now. It will be a pretty strong aircraft for ground RB, especially having more standoff capability and more guided weapons. This and the J-10 will definitely be the first 2 planes I go for when the update drops. China will be getting the Antelope anti-air system, which is armed with the TC-1L missile. It has an estimated range of about 9 kilometers and has a dual-band seeker. It will probably go between the PGZ-04A and the Tor M1, and will be decent but not necessarily amazing. Germany will be getting the Puma S1, which means they will finally be getting their Puma with spikes. It can carry 2 in the launcher and should be able to carry another 2 or so in the tank itself. The Puma was introduced over 2 years ago, and many people were upset that it came without spikes, even though they've been somewhat shit in the past. It will be nice to have a stronger light tank in the tech tree for Germany after this update though. China will also be getting a premium MBT 2000, which will be both good and bad for China. While they do have the ZTZ-96A prototype, they do lack a higher tier premium tank which most other nations have. However, this will also drop the win rate for China like it always does with a new top tier premium, but then again, if everyone has a top tier premium, then I guess that's the fairest way to go about it. It does seem like Japan will be getting the battlecruiser Amagi, which will be yet another ship that was never fully completed. I personally am not a fan of adding vehicles that were never fully built, but if a gap needs filling, it's a lot better than a fully paper vehicle. Amagi's sister ship, the Akagi, was ultimately converted to an aircraft carrier. The Amagi will have 10 16.1-inch guns in 5 twin-gun turrets. Like I said, I'm not particularly fond of Gaijin adding vehicles that were never fully finished, but it seems like they will be continuing with this for a while. Next up, we have another ship, but this one was actually finished. The HMS Queen Elizabeth, and no, not the current aircraft carrier, though that would be cool. I am talking about the Queen Elizabeth that was built about 110 years ago, the battleship. This will be another pretty strong ship for Britain in terms of armor, but it does have only 4 15-inch main guns, with 2 turrets each housing 2 guns. It also has 16 single 6-inch turrets and 2 3-inch anti-air guns. The ship is also equipped with 4 21-inch torpedo tubes. Next, we have another battleship, the USS Tennessee. This ship is the first of the Tennessee class, being launched only 6 years after the HMS Queen Elizabeth. It seems to have slightly better overall armor than the Queen Elizabeth, but a significantly stronger weapons package. It carries 12 14-inch guns across 4 turrets with 3 guns each. Its secondary armament includes 14 single 5-inch gun turrets, 4 single 3-inch gun turrets, and 2 21-inch torpedo tubes. Despite being around 300 tons lighter than the Queen Elizabeth, it is a bit slower due to having quite a lot less power, but their top speeds are only about 3 knots apart, being 21 knots for the Tennessee and 24 for the Queen Elizabeth. The last vehicle on this list is a new likely top tier premium for China, being the JH-7. Unless this is a later variant like the JH-7A2 or the JH-7E, this seems to be lacking much of what the current JH-7A gets in game. Starting off with the radar, it gets the Type 243H multifunctional radar, which can detect both aircraft and ships. It can detect ships as far out as 175 kilometers, and aircraft roughly the size of a MiG-21 at about 75 kilometers. Of course, a larger target can be detected further and a smaller one will be detected closer, but overall I'm not entirely sure how much worse this radar is, or if the JL-10A radar in the JH-7A is more of a side grade. The JH-7 will also have one less pylon on each wing and lacks the capability to carry a targeting pod under the fuselage, if at all. However, it could receive the YJ-1 anti-ship missile, of which it can carry two, with a range of 50 kilometers and a max speed of Mach 2. However, seeing as though the JH-7A could also get this and carry 4 of them, I'm not too sure we will be seeing this missile. However, even if it were to come, they likely wouldn't even work anyways, since the cormorants on the German Event Tornado still don't work right, even though it was added over a year and a half ago. While it is possible they could fix it for this plane, I wouldn't count on it. Plus the fact that the base JH-7 is heavier than the JH-7A, it's really not looking to be a good option for those looking to grind China, and the J7D will still be the better option, at least in my opinion. The only upside is that it can still carry air-to-air missiles, which should be the PL-5C and the PL-8, though I'm not entirely sure if it's limited to just 2, or if it can still carry the full 4. Unless this is a different variant, I would not recommend this at all, even to my worst enemy. If they do give it the anti-ship missiles and they made them work properly, I would consider getting it to use in Sim, but that's about it. Now, while working on this video, I did come across something from Gazabi, who does the data mining and also worked with the actual leaker to get this leak list out. You may have noticed on the leak list that a few of the items were redacted like normal, but one of these says it is a squadron vehicle for China, and that's where Gazabi comes in. He says that China will be getting a JF-17 Thunder as a squadron vehicle this next update, though he later clarifies that this is the Block 1. I wasn't able to find anything conclusive on the Block 1, so I'm not entirely sure if it can use the SD-10 or not, but that would be surprising for a non-tech tree vehicle to be added with a more modern ARH missile so soon. For those that don't know, the SD-10 is an export modification of the PL-12, with a maximum range of about only 70 kilometers. It can also carry the PL-5E2, which has an all-aspect dual-band seeker, so while it doesn't have particularly good range, it will still be pretty strong. It could also get the YJ-83 anti-ship missile amongst other ground ordnance, but again, I'm not confident Gaijin is planning to fix anti-ship missiles or introduce any more just yet. However, if the JF-17 does get the SD-10, that would almost certainly make it the first squadron vehicle that is the highest available BR in game. And one last thing from Gazabi about the J10 this time. He was asked if both the J10 and the J10A would be coming, and he confirmed that both separate variants are planned to come, so China may be seeing 4 high-tier aircraft this update. If there are any videos you guys would like to see, please let me know in the comments and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and please make sure to let me know what your favorite vehicle on the list is.